Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I have a wife in power today. Like I mentioned before, lots of people come asking questions on how to juggle career and family, and I thought, why not bring people who have gone before us, as we don't have to make the same mistakes. So I have a very powerful woman today, and I say, wives in power because these are wives who have influence, in career, but also in their homes. And I'm excited to introduce to you Dr. Florence Naluyinda Kitabire. This video is brought to you by Ruby's Gift Store. Ruby's is a Christian store that brings you so many gifting options, from Bibles, books, planners, journals, decorware, kitchenware, and so much more. But that's not all. To help you celebrate women in your life, Ruby's Gift Store has put together a special package. You could celebrate your mother, your auntie, your mentor, even your friend, women that have impacted your life in one way or another. These packages will include mugs, journals, books, nail care sets, and so much more. So to check them out, please visit their website www.rubysgiftstore.com or check their Instagram @rubysgiftstore, or even visit their physical location, which is on Loi Plaza, Chisasi, shop number L33. Make your gifting have an impact with Ruby's Gift Store. Welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have you. Wow, it's an honor. Just let the viewers know who you are. Are you married? Do you have children? And where are you career-wise?
Wow, thank you, Lisa, for that very good introduction. Powerful by the grace of God.
Amen.
Yes, Dr. Florence Naluyinda Kitabire, and I am a pediatrician and been a medical personnel for over 30 years now.
Wow.
Initially as a medical officer, then upgraded to a pediatrician, and then added on the public health view of children's issues. I'm happy to have served in different institutions, catering for children's issues and their families. And I'm also a wife and a mother.
Yes.
Been married to a dear husband for over 33 years now.
This year 33. Oh, wow. Oh.
And we have 3 grown, lovely daughters.
Wow. It's an honor to have her here. She is really an amazing person. So we're going to just, get into the discussion. How did you reach where you are? Because you've mentioned you're in the spaces of the medical area, but also public health. How did you reach there? Because many wives like us, we want to reach those high places, but how do we do it? Yeah.
Thank you. I should say one day at a time, one season at a time. I love what I do. I finished my first medical degree with Makerere University as a medical officer, MBCHB as we call it, and looking forward to working as a medical doctor and putting all that I've got. It was exciting, I should say. And after my internship, as qualifying as a medical officer, I also got married. So as a young wife, young career, juggling that bit was quite a learning experience.
Yes.
And then later on, I had to study for my master's in pediatrics. And then later on, after 10 years, I had to study for my master's in public health and continuing to work and be a wife and be a mother. It's a very unique but fruitful experience.
Yes, because we know people in the medical field, every time you're studying never ends almost. You're studying, and then, we have questions. How do you juggle being a mom, but most importantly, being a wife. Because find sometimes we go into our careers so much because we want to climb that ladder, and then we neglect certain areas. How did you do it?
So as a young doctor and a young bride, I had to first balance that. Start working and at the same time caring for the home. And then not very long, then I become a mother. And now juggling being a wife, being a mother, and then work. However, what kept in the mind is my primary mandate, which is being a wife and a mother.
Let them first understand the positioning. Wife first, then a mother.
Then career.
Then career.
Yes. Because I was counseled into that as I was getting married.
Yeah.
It's not that my career took a lesser pace because I was quite an ambitious young woman.
Yeah.
But I had to remember that even as I paced in that career, it was my choice to choose to get married. It was a gift from God, of course. So I had to cater for that gift also.
Yeah.
So I'm making sure that my husband is fine. His needs are met.
Yeah.
The home is a home. Not coming home and say, where is where is his wife? Look at this home. I tried my best.
Yeah.
And then of course, when the child comes in, to balance being a mother and not forgetting her, not forgetting him.
Yes, that's very
because
key.
It also happens that now I'm catering for the baby and then I have to go to work, and then it's like, you're an adult, cater for yourself.
Figure it out, figure it out.
You can also see me, my hands are full.
That statement, you know, women we make.
Really, God gave us that gift of juggling many roles at the same time. So He'll make sure that you manage. As we were chatting earlier, what sorted me was to say, Florence, go in with 100%. Do your part. When the other one comes to do their part, they are helping you.
Yeah.
But if you start having an expectation that I'll do my 50%, now it's over, please do your part.
Add on,
then the struggles come.
Yeah.
And then the expectations also get frustrated. And also talking over it with my husband.
Yeah.
I think he's one person who has supported me all through, which I highly appreciate. He knows the doctor he married. He knows how busy we are.
Yeah.
And his supportive role in every way has been very, very appreciated. Right from the start as a young bride, I had to do hospital calls, starting from 5 p.m., going right up to the morning.
Wow.
Like every once or twice a week. But he had to come from work, and those days were tough. There was no cafeteria to go for your meals, no warm cup of tea. But I do remember that he had to come from planning and come get the flasks from where we were staying and have a trip to Mulago Hospital.
Wow.
Bring me my flask of food and my flask of tea. And as soon as I received them, he has to rush back. And then a little later, he had to rush back to put the baby to bed. So, and then when I go back the next day, because you're so tired, then transitioning into the day becomes an issue. So you have to rest a bit, then get up. But then I also reciprocating. When I go back and I know someone helped me, when I'm now fresh, then I have to do the best.
The best, because someone also supported you. So it's kind of like teamwork. You know, I really love that because you're saying that your husband was supporting you and he made it really easier, you know, to juggle it all. We get lots of questions where women are worried that if I climb up that ladder, maybe the man will feel intimidated or, you know, things like that. What tip would you have for husbands out there, maybe, to support their wives in these roles and not be intimidated by you know, their success? Or is it us, the women, who are doing something wrong? Maybe we are not listening when we go up that ladder. What can you say about that?
Good question. And it's both. The ladies going up the ladder, and it's very easy to be taken up by your career.
Yes.
It's exciting.
Wow.
Especially when you see you're moving from one step to the other, and it's so easy to ignore the other aspects. Not ignore that you intended, but because you are taken up. So there has to be a balance.
Yeah.
As we enjoy our career, first of all, don't leave your husband out of it. Talk about it. Let him understand what your career is all about. I know most times they understand, they know what you're doing. But listen to his feel about it.
Yeah.
And if he's feeling a little bit not convinced or not comfortable, don't shun it. Because sometimes the powerful will say, hey, what does he think? I'm also doing
Who is
he also wakes up and goes, you know.
Is it me?
No. Listen to it. Remember your mandate. You're the wife and the mother in this. And the aim is never to sacrifice your family because of career.
Wow, that's really key, guys.
So listen to him. You see, if you are, before I even think of enrolling for my master's, which is needed, let's talk about it. Is this good? I feel like I want to enroll for the master's. Should I? And they can also be, they give good advice if we listen to them. Most times, sometimes it's difficult to listen to them.
It's difficult.
So it's like, wait a minute, with these two little girls,
How will you do it?
how are you going to do it? Hey, but they are going to leave me. Everybody is not, no, you are not everybody. So by the time you go, don't first enroll and you are accepted.
Then you come to
tell
communicate.
him that next June,
I'm
I've been
going.
accepted. You know. No, talk about it. If there is a need to delay, then you delay. Maybe he's a sixth sense, which you may have missed. And we have had those conversations, as even if it meant taking on a clinic work after work, everything most times was discussed, presented, weighed a bit, and the pros and cons, so that when it becomes tougher along the way, you agreed.
You agreed at the start, at the onset. I really like that, because many times we feel like we don't want to talk about things. You want to make your own decision, but when you're in a marriage, remember, it's two of you as a team, as partners working together. Communication is key. Yes.
And then on top of that, imagine, but he should have known. I'm a doctor, so I have to do my master's. No. So that one was communicated and agreed. Because I do remember it got tougher, like I think in my third year. And I'm like, really, maybe I should stop because of the toll it was giving me at work and my own, this time it was just my own study, my study frustration.
Yeah.
But when you remember what the family has sacrificed for you,
You can't give up.
in these 2-3 years, I just find my baby, she would wait, and when I come from Mulago, and those days it was public means, my friend. It is getting to Mulago, tax back, then Bugolovi. And the child just falls on you like this and sleeps. And you're like, I don't know what she has sung for me today.
How was that day?
And then third year, how do I go back and say, I have quit? So I do remember that helped me to say, Florence, hang on. It will be over.
Yeah.
It will be over.
Just a few years.
Just a few more months, a year, and we'll be done. So either way, really knowing that someone is supporting you is very key, but also share together. Because as you're also going up your ladder, he is also going up his ladder. Maybe, like I think in those years when I was studying, still there were times when it is going to Washington for a short course for 4 months, and off he would go. So I have to remain in the home for 4 months as he's doing his diploma in whatever, finance, whatever he was doing. So there's, all of you are moving up.
Yeah.
But be graceful to each other and be open to
to one another.
to one another. And have that notion that we are into this thing for both of us.
For all of us to win.
To win. But there is, especially the career path of a lady, there's where you see things are not going fast, and then you try to run alone. But I think it's okay. I've learned that it is well.
It is well.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much for that. I think that's very key. Communication and talking through things. And you mentioned a bit about Washington, you know, because I know we spoke earlier and you mentioned that you had some international work. How did you, because many ladies I know want to work internationally because yes, there are so many opportunities there, the money, the growth, the networks. Would you advise someone to do it? Or, you know, what were your tips when you were doing it? How did you manage it?
A child, love is spelled T-I-M-E. Time. They'll never know how excellent the doctor I was, how excellent a teacher I was.
They will never.
But that time with them. So later on through learning, they taught us, which I keep up today, that as a career mother, remember you're working in shifts. You have a shift as a wife, shift as a mother, and shift as your career. So once I come back from work, my work shift
has ended. Yes.
So I come now and go into the mother shift. When you've been working, when you come home, don't start saying, "Hey, now where is so and so's food?" No, you also show that you are interested in the food your child is going to eat, and your helper also knows that when mom comes, she's going to feed her children.
She's taking over
until they go to sleep. Now, when they go to sleep, now you take over your husband. So that you also make sure the meals are on time, you know, so that you have also quality time with him. I wanted to say that whether you're national or international, let that remain basic
time
in the home. T-I-M-E is the interpretation of love.
Yeah. Wow.
Those bedtime stories, the clean diapers in the morning. So you're lucky now you have your diapers.
Yeah.
For us, we had to keep those nappies sparkling white, not the maid and hustling. I had to do it myself. But I know that I tell her, put everything in the bucket with Omo.
I'll come
and sort it out. So in that way, remember the shifts. We can never have one shift called career. We juggle our shifts as the day go by. Yeah, so back to your Washington.
Yes.
Exciting time. The earlier one I talked about was initial short courses that my husband had to go to do, and I remained home with the family like 4 months, 6 months, maybe 2-3 months, and he comes back. By the way, even as a national, sometimes I also had to travel
up country,
even other countries. I remember I had to go Malawi, Botswana for 6 weeks for some researches. And how do you leave the home? So you have to sort it out.
Yeah.
So the support is not only from the husband, but the family, the sisters, my sisters-in-law, my brothers, everybody chipped in.
Wow.
And which we really appreciate. It's a real raising our family with the community.
With the village.
Yes. Whoever had time. I remember my younger sister-in-law had to move in when one of the moves had to go like to Botswana. She would work but come home in the evening to take care of the kids. So Auntie Peace was Aunt Peace at home because she would come and she was free still at that time. So I want to appreciate all of them, all my sisters, my husband's sisters, brothers, everybody really supported this. Internationally, eventually we had to move internationally. That one also, remember the mandate, wife, mother, career. Initially, our initial move to Washington, my husband had to go work in Washington, but mine was now being a wife. They kept on asking me, what are you going to do? I said, for now, I don't know.
You don't know, but we are going.
We are going. And the many people will talk, but just keep your mandate.
Yeah.
Because I remember someone else, so you're just going to cook for the morning and that's all?
Imagine.
I said, would that be bad?
Right, yes, because that's very key. Many people get a lot of pressure from outside there. You're just going to be cooking, just looking after children. But I know that looking after children is not just, it's not a just matter. It's very key.
Yes, but it's also being a wife, being a mother, ladies, it's also a career. I don't know why we did not say that it's a career.
We need to
itself.
emphasize that.
Yes, because maybe I was blessed to be raised by a mom who was a work at home. And when I see her career and what she put in us, we can't even put a price tag on it.
Thank you.
It's like, how did she manage to raise 10 of us like this and did her best? Her pay was us and in kind. Her pay was in kind, no cent.
No, yes.
But we have to still remember that.
Yeah.
Though with time it may be seen as inferior, but in my heart it's not inferior. In fact, I tell my young mothers who are stay home that stop saying stay home. It is work at home mothers.
You're working.
It's the home CEO.
Excellent.
Yes. So I go, and initially I was the home CEO, but juggling the husband and the children into the new environment, into new school and everything, you actually have no time for yourself. However, God in his faithfulness, eventually also, he knows our career. He's also knows our desires.
Yes.
He opened up an opportunity for me. That's when I did my master's in public health.
Wow.
There came an opportunity, moreover, at a very good university. I think the Lord just made a safe passage for me there. And I got admitted there through an old network who a colleague was treating his kids. I asked my husband, what is she coming to do here? Would she like to study? And my husband was like, of course. And before I knew it, it was a prospectus, it was an entry, it's a long story, another show. But for now, it's just to say that it happened, and that's when I studied my master's, 2.5 years part-time master with my family in Washington.
In one place.
In one place.
That's such a testimony.
Yes, but hard work, but what more do you ask for when you really have your family together in one place?
And for me, it still speaks into season. Because you accepted the season, you understood the season that you are in at the moment, you let go for a moment your career. And that can be very hard for us, saying, okay, let me pause for a few months or years as I do this. I think is very key, because sometimes we are rushing. We're like, and one lesson I've learned is career will wait. Like it can wait, like you can always do it. But time lost, like you've mentioned with family, you can never regain.
Yes.
That's very key.
And career, as you are not losing time with family, your career is also being modified. I mean, there is that fear that now that I'm with the family, what am I going to be after that? But even in modeling of that family, the Lord is taking care of you. I think the other bit I wanted to bring in is trust. Trust and surrender it to the Lord. Because then you know that he has your best interest
at heart. Thank you for that. Now here you are with your family. What about ladies, wives who have to leave their families, let's say in Uganda or wherever, and then travel to another place in the UK, in the wherever? What do you have to say about that? Because it's a tricky situation.
It's a very tricky situation. And a very, very important one. First of all, that's why I appreciated that God in his wisdom and love and favor for me could make me do my master's in public health in the US with my family.
Yes.
Very few mothers
get that opportunity.
So most of them, especially with the masters abroad, they tend to leave their families 1 year, 1.5, 2 years to go to get that achievement. and my colleagues have gone through that. It's a very important step, something that has to be discussed by the family. To first of all get a full agreement with your husband, but also work out his support, social support, because definitely he has to take care of those children. Let's not assume.
Yes.
Let's not assume. Together, as I said, we had brothers, sisters, in-laws who could all take care. Let's not say, don't worry, go, my mother will take care of that. No. Talked about it
In depth.
And take time. I don't think it can be introduced only 3 weeks to when you are leaving. Let it be like 2-3 months. As you see that the scholarship is coming to work out, please, let's talk about it and introduce them to the idea, because they'll be the one to support your family as you're away. And usually by the Lord's grace, there are interactions. Sometimes they come to visit you once, or you come once, and the time ends, but have a limit of when it will end. Yes, because it's also, we're taught through our counseling that they did not really encourage marriage remotely,
long distance
marriage. But they said if it had to be, discuss it and have a limit. Say, okay, we are working on it, it's 2 years. After 2 years, we'll do something.
Yes.
But they really discouraged us a lot of an endless remote.
Yes, you don't know when. All of you are like, Kale, you go, maybe.
I've gone, and then from going to one international station, I've been posted to another 3 years. I've been posted to another 2 years.
5 years before you know it.
As a family, we went through that.
Tell us about it.
Yes, because for when we come back, a skint here from Washington, then we start our international moves again. And there was a time when we had just settled the children back into the, first of all, they could not return to the national schools. Yes. So we had to settle them into international schools around. And then 3 years of being here, the great trek starts again. And I'm like, we are like, now, the way we are with the children, Mr. You go. Mr. goes for, I think, 3 years. 3 years when I had the children here. And now it is now Kudiva, for us we are here. And I'm like, okay, let's make best here, knowing you're the only one who is going, for the stability now of these others, knowing they are coming back here and dad is coming to visit us. Now, eventually they all go to the boarding school, and now another 2-3 years of juggling. They're in boarding school. Mr. Kitabire is in Kudiva, and in Uganda, CDC, and so many jobs come also. I said, you need to go to an international job. It has to be where Mr. Kitabire is. They even asked us, so what are you doing here? The children are in international school. My mothers, my aunties, 3 of them landed on me in Colombia, asked me, so are you keeping an empty house? For us, we never sent you to Mr. Kitabire to be here. House. We sent you to keep him.
Oh, wow.
And I said, thank you so much for the concern, aunties, 3 of them. We had an occasion, they all came home, they sat home, and I came from upstairs like now, and they thought Mr. Kitabire was going to follow. And then they see, I'm the only one.
Alone.
No, where is Mr. Kitabire? But you know he's in Kudiva. And you, what are you doing here? So everybody became the story. What are you doing here? But in God's, we all knew it was a concern, but God's timing, and we all knew that. Don't leave it endless. And now it was on our knees, both of us. It seems like endless. Where are we going to? And God in his moves moved. Took him back, took him to Zimbabwe, got for me a job with UNICEF in Zimbabwe. Together, we are together in Zimbabwe.
Wow.
One time children, we tell them you're not going back to Uganda.
Come to
Zimbabwe and we start another great trip of us together. Then they have to leave him in Zimbabwe. When I went to Zimbabwe, the Lord covered me not to know that it was a rotating station. If I knew,
You didn't have
I wouldn't have gone. So to me, I knew now we are going to stay in Zimbabwe
for some time.
until they give him another transfer. 3 years, my HR comes and says, Florence, it's time to move. I said, to move where?
Yeah.
He said, you didn't know. I said, no. So he said, hey, look for the next station. International professionals don't stay in one place. The station here is 3 years. Then you have to move on. She even helped me to look for the empty stations where I should move. Before you know it, I had to move again to Swaziland. I leave my family in Zimbabwe, the children, and now we are split between Zimbabwe and Swaziland. I remember that December we all come for Christmas here. We join our team of believers, our friends, and then we start chatting. And then introduce yourself. And then my husband will say, I'm from Zimbabwe. And then also I say, I'm from Swaziland. So when our colleagues really realized that we're in different countries, my husband is in Zimbabwe, I'm in Swaziland, they're like, guys, we thought we were outside together, what's happening? And that prompted me inside. I'm like, God, we must do something. Already our colleagues are noticing that. I know it's our concern, but we surrender it to you. Because in that way, when I moved to Swaziland, it was still God working in mysterious ways, because that's when my daughter managed to get into Waterford for her A-level. And we were wondering where to take her after O-level. Looking around, Europe is far, what? And there comes this passage to Waterford.
So where is Waterford?
In Swaziland itself. It's just uphill from our offices. And by the fact that I had taken on the UNICEF office there, so somehow it favored her to be one of the few that were taken up by the A-level, because mom is here. And I really want to thank God for that. So because of that, then we sat and still chatted to make a decision of how do we go about this. Because in that transition, he was recalled back to headquarters in Cote d'Ivoire. So we decided let Swaziland be the family home and let him be, although it's outside Uganda, let him be the one to come and be checking on us.
Come and go.
For those 2 years. At least we do that. And but you know, the continuous conversation to the point that even the house we eventually got where to stay, he had to come and see and say, we have to show you the house which we have got, so that at least he is aware where we are before we even move in. So in a way, you are involved with each other, even in the international journey. So eventually, fast forward, our daughter finishes her A-level, and it's in that coming year that then my husband is now reposted to Zambia. Now again, it is Zambia, Swaziland, but it's a lot nearer, closer. And I remember we even had to sit as a family and said, now that he is closer, and our daughter has also wound up, I think we need to now discuss and move the family together. And now I do remember that before we could even discuss further, it was so clear that it's now me to move. That was a silent me, willingly. And I'm like, I'm not going even to go into this conversation. It is me to move. I prayed about it. And this is the Lord we serve. In one of the devotions, he can make it clear to you. He can use Lisa, he can use any other person to make it clear to you. But this time it was so vivid, and I surrendered. I said, you know what? I think it's time, yes. And it was one tough time. 6 years in my international professional full-time employee, UNICEF, moving up the ladder,
climbing,
aiming at being a rep and what. But the Lord clearly spoke to me. And it's like time to let go.
That is tough.
Gut-wrenching.
Aish.
Yes, I accepted, but I do remember that it was like a month of every time I sleep over it. Like, and then the question was, Florence, you mean you were attached to this job this much?
You didn't
Maybe
know how
that's
much.
how much you were attached.
Yes.
And I think the Lord was trying to balance me at that time. And I got a very vivid devotional where it says that the very thing you like, be very careful, may be the one to ruin you.
Wow.
And he used an example of a very good, skillful rugby player on the South African team. He loved his rugby. He got many awards. But because of the big punching he always had, eventually got Parkinson's out of it.
Oh my God.
Because of the nerves, of the brain being affected. And this is in one morning kneel down over my devotion of our daily journey. Talk of God speaking to you.
And some people will say that, but how do you know God is speaking? God speaks to you the way he knows you will understand him.
Exactly.
My sheep will hear my voice. So the way he speaks to you would be different from the way he speaks to me or another wife. So just listen.
And it was, to me, not my husband nagging me, but he presented a case. And by the way, in all this, remember the children.
Yes.
I know you're going. You were saying, what do you learn? In all this juggling, remember the children. One time, my daughter is on the plane and calls me and said, "Mom, which address should I put?"
Oh, she's
You people,
confused.
you people, you've left Zimbabwe. Now we have no place in Swaziland yet. I told her, put Bugolobi, our
Ugandan home.
After I did that, I said, Florence, now it's high time. Bring, and it's the mother, the wife, to bring the family together.
Yes.
There are issues where you say we are equal, but different. Hey, you say if he wants, let him also come and join me. No,
Please.
So that one, and then I start, and the Lord really say that he also helps you a bit. I found favor whoever I told that. My very representative, to tell her that I'm leaving, not just but separating from UNICEF. That was the gut-wrenching. I reached a point where 2-3 months I've not told her, and then in 6 months we're supposed to be moving. And I'm like, my husband comes home Saturday. Have you told her?
Not yet.
Not yet. Sunday he says, I'm here. Can you call her? These things you can't discuss in the office.
Yes, you need to sit down.
I'll mind the children, whatever you're going to do this afternoon. So I drive there. And still, I spent like a whole hour. We took tea, we took everything.
You're not getting to the point.
If I go home,
they will finish.
No. And then I said, by the way, Rep, I had come to tell you this. And 1 minute, minute like of silence.
Shock.
And then she comes out and says, you know what, Florence? But we want to thank Mr. Kitabire for lending you to us these 3 years. What else do I want from the Lord as a confirmation? And from then on, she supported me all through until we moved to Zambia 6 months.
Wow.
They said, she told me, put in for reasons, for family. She told me whom to go to, whom to write to. And I met everyone and they transitioned. And as an Elizabeth with Mary, the same human resource manager, I was telling my story because she came to us and I grabbed her like this and I told her what should be the process. So she came down and said, Florence, I'm also going to join my husband in the UK.
Wow.
In fact, I filed mine earlier than yours.
Hey.
I'm like, wow. Nancy, you can't be telling me that. I said, I'm telling you, I'm going in March, you are going in May, I'm going in March. It shook me a little bit because she was such a supportive human resource manager, but this was the Mary Elizabeth experience.
Yeah.
It's like she was telling me, I'm going, it's okay for you.
Yes.
And we kept on emphasizing that as she was a Christian, we said, as a Christian, we may not be understood,
Yep.
but our path is, this is the only covenant relationship you ever said I do.
I do. By choice, no one forced you.
So, and it has an eternal aspect to it when you go through all the marriage covenant, which we won't go through now. But the purposes include, and you are influencing many other people, your children, your husband, raising godly offspring. It's a unit of the Lord.
Yes.
These are tools, the careers that the Lord are using to enhance His eternal purpose.
Yes.
So I moved to Zambia with no job, and not that my supporting husband, let me tell you, when he was in Zambia, he sent me like over 8 applications.
Oh, wow.
You
Try
can apply
here,
this,
try
this,
here.
try this, until he sent me one for the military. I said, darling, did you see this
You know.
really? I can't be a health worker in the military. This time I'm not going to obey. I mean to say that I have refused.
But
this one,
Ned,
military of Zambia, not of Uganda. But that's how he was trying
to
his
support
best.
you.
But
Oh my God.
I applied. If you see my computer,
Eh,
it has those
full.
cover letters.
Oh my God.
I would go Saturday afternoon, apply. Nothing, no single reply. I fly into Zambia. 3 weeks I'm seated there. I was tired. It was such a taxing job in Swaziland. But I thank God for what He taught me, because it has brought me this far. And I sit down, and my husband is like, the first thing you have to do is to rest. You're so tired. 3 weeks I am in Zambia.
Nothing.
He brings a newspaper article with the USID application. They want a child health advisor. They want a TB HIV advisor in Zambia. I'm like, what?
This is me.
Yeah. He brings from his office. He said, I keep bringing captions. And I said, and I won't disappoint. I will trust and obey. I will apply. To move forward, fast forward, I get these jobs.
Wow.
2-3 years, 2-3 months down the line, are you available? Are you available for the interview? In fact, I did one, and 2 weeks they called me. I said, but guys, I did the other one. Haven't I bridged the gap? Should I do both? Said, you come. I do both, and they had to decide where I go.
Which one? Where to take you?
Hey,
wow.
Fast forward, my colleagues come to see me in Zambia, and I tell them I'm going to work. I said, you got a job in
already?
Zambia. Whom do you know?
You know God. Thank you.
So to me, when they say Gamba Nogu,
Gamba
Gamba Nogu,
you know a Gamba Nogu
is the one above.
Yes.
Because He knows my desires, He knows my... From a newspaper, even in Uganda now, it can be different. I applied and I said from the newspaper 23rd. Remember, I'm not Zambian.
Imagine.
I am an international, but they call me, and the Lord's grace. During that time of 6 months resting and reading all this, I still utilized my time. I did my e-courses and minded my S6 vacist, my daughter, for the 6 months with her, the 2 of us. That one I'm forever grateful.
That time you spent again. But I like what you say, that even in the season of waiting, you used it well.
Yes.
You don't wait until, anyway, you know, you used it well to add more to you.
Yes.
Spend time with the family. It was a win-win.
I didn't want my husband to come back and find me low and depressed.
It can depress.
Yes, and then he was very busy. And I'm like, but one thing that the Lord told me, don't complain on what you don't have. Use what you have. Remember the woman with the oil? He said, I have nothing but
just
the little oil I'm going to make, and then
we die.
And we die. That nothing but is what the Lord used to multiply even the vessels until they got finished. That's another sermon of another day.
Yeah.
But I said, what do I have here? I have my family, I have my daughter, teach everything home, what she
Home
can
related.
do. Make food. We made roasters. So that I had never seen her cook a whole meal and serve us. This was a time for her to try out that, and we do it joyfully. And then I had an unlimited internet.
Wow.
I said, "Beautiful, unlimited internet," and I sit and look.
Let me do something. Not movies, Netflix.
I would do those, but because you have to enjoy life also.
Yes.
But then make sure, what have I done? When we were younger, our father would ask us, what have you, every day, what have you done for God, for others, and for yourself? So, joy, Jesus, others, and yourself. And it would start funny, but you could even get canes if you never did anything of those three.
You've not
So
done it.
we always tease ourselves. So even in that time, I'm like, Florence, what have you done for yourself today, for others, for Jesus? So myself, I did like, I think 4 or 5 Agora courses.
Yeah.
But then guess what? Later on, these are the e-certificates I was adding on when they were asking me. Anyway, my life, as you see, is long. I can go on and on. But I think the particular bit I wanted to say in that regard was how trusting and obey and entrusting your season. When I get it 3 weeks and it's in Zambia, and it's the one I got, my internal reflection was, God wanted me to first obey and touch Zambia land.
Exactly. If you had held on to the other one,
the 8 ones none showed up.
Go in faith first.
With nothing.
Nothing. Don't say I'm going with something.
Because my rep was so nice. She even sent me to the Zambia rep because I went there early to visit before I went completely. Said, go and see them. They'll get you something. And then when I went there, they were like, Florence, you're very welcome. Great recommendation. But all your areas of health and child health have just filled them with colleagues.
With people.
With competent colleagues. And they are just starting. Remember, our stations are 4 or 5 years. So I'm sorry, to do. Maybe if we get consultancies, but welcome to Zambia.
But God knew.
Yeah. I'm like, God, you wanted me to go empty. As I went to Washington, remember, empty.
This is another time. Yeah.
So the Lord blessed me. It's one of the best jobs I've had in my life. Short-lived. Because 6 months down the line, guess what? We were packing.
Oh my God.
Back to Zimbabwe.
To move.
But I had those 6 months with Child Health Advisor, with the USAID Zambia mission, and the best that the Lord taught me there, and concentrated on early child development as in depth as I could. Yet it was the foundation ground that later gave me that I used as an experience for the consultancy work I'm doing with UNICEF now as an early childhood development consultant for the 0 to 3 years.
Wow.
My best. But I started it there to really rejuvenate myself, to get to know all the pros and cons and the updates in that area. So that's my long journey. But to say that in all that, eventually your family then becomes your cheerleaders.
Yeah.
But of course, the most cheerleader is the Lord above. And every day assuring me that I told you, I know your desires more than myself.
Yeah.
The world may be on the contrary. Because several times ridiculous come, and let them come. I think it's to affirm your faith.
I was reading a book and they were saying that it's not a must that everyone should understand your journey, your purpose, because it was not a conference call. When God was calling you, it wasn't a conference call for everyone to hear. It was to you. So whether people come and ridicule you and say all these things, for you, be focused on what God is telling you.
What God is telling you. And when you give such an experience, it's just even a testimony to encourage someone else. But we know that everyone has their own path.
Yes.
To some path may say now it's work at home season. To another path is like, I have shown you to go internationally.
Yeah.
Still the Lord will take care, but don't go alone.
Yes.
As our proverb says, if you want to run very fast, alone.
Alone.
But if you want to go further, together.
I really like that.
Yes.
And I just, as we conclude, I just want to ask you, knowing what you know now, is there anything you could have done differently? You think like, maybe if I do, is there anything, you know, as we conclude, and then giving us final tips for the young wives, final tips for the home, you know, for the marriage, for the mother, just tips for us, you know, as we conclude.
Wow, that's a tough question. What would I have done differently? I think I would have relaxed more to understand that God knows my address.
Yeah.
Because I may say it seems free-flowing. No, it had some anxiety moments. It had some gut-wrenching moments. But when I look back, I'm like, God, forgive me for those times that I trusted but then held on.
Yes.
I think I just need to know that my primary mandate remains the primary mandate. My colleagues don't fear that you become a lesser career woman if you become a good wife and mother.
Yes.
In fact, you may become a better career woman.
Yes.
But let's remember our mandates. And when we go into this marriage, I'm still answering what would I have done better.
Yes. Or tips for us.
No, okay, let me first finish when you ask me that question, I'm like, first of all, thank you, Lord, that either I am in denial, but when I look back, thank you, Lord, that there is little to regret.
Wow.
I'm like, I put in all with these children,
My
I
heart,
put in all with
everything.
my husband. So I'm like, Florence, you could be in denial. Maybe you could have done. So I walked to my daughter and I said, she's a grown-up daughter, one of them with us. I said, just tell me,
what?
As a mother, what do you think I should have done better? Since you saw me and you were my experiment.
Yes.
And then she looked at me and said, Mom, thank you, did all your best, Mom. We don't know what we can do. And then she said, one thing I want just to tell you, maybe to understand us, she was she still is an all-rounder child. So I pushed her to the limit. So she said, maybe to understand most of that, maybe you may not have pushed me more in some areas than you did
in others,
because you assumed that I could do everything.
Okay.
And she gave an example. In the US, I took them to everything. So I even took them to ice skating.
They
had to learn how to skate.
You must know all things.
Yes, you must know. So he said, Mom, I struggled with ice skating. So one time, and I start outside the ring. Me, I can't even go there one step. But
you must go.
You must go. So I watched her with the instructor until she was like 7, 8 years. Until she just surrendered and sat down. You know, sitting down on the ice.
Like,
with
I'm done.
I'm done. I'm done. So the instructor got her up, and then, you know, the nail things, walked her along the edge and gave me back my daughter. I said, don't worry, come. We remove everything. We go and have our pizza and we wait for... Rachel was enjoying. Let's wait for Rachel and come. Then she kept on saying, Mom, for example, you could have seen that really, Esther, let me excuse her.
She's not meant for this one, please.
Yeah, so I told her, because she was an all-rounder, very energetic, she needed to be kept active. So I pushed her in all that. And I said, yes, I realize. Then another thing that I learned, and thank God I managed to reflect on myself and go slow, is to realize that the older the children grow, the more they need you.
Wow. Because many times we think, only the baby. These ones now, they are okay. We leave them.
Or you say she needs you, but then you are busy.
You're like,
hey, did you do this? Then you go. I realized, excuse me, those ones I could even leave the maid maybe to feed her to what. These are real issues. She wants to talk to you. And they kept on saying, teenager and adolescents, that the voices of the peers sound loud. But then they did a survey and they all said, but we wish to hear from our parents.
Yeah.
The peers may say this, but what a parent told her, it will ring a bell even
Yes,
among
to
the
enter
peers.
deep.
So I had to wake up very quickly when they're all teenagers. And because I spaced them, each one become teenager at a different age. Maybe I could have learned when my older one had gone a little older. But then I intentioned. And then when you say that I'm going to speak to them, it's not automatic. Sometimes you say, now today I'm taking a day off, I'll do with my children. And then they are in the mood of not even listening.
They don't want to even look at you.
No. I even had to pray. I said, God, I took this week. Please, I can be with my children. The way I sat and they all ran away.
Hey, they have other things to do.
It's prayer. And then the Lord mellows them down. I even sit on the carpets and not pretend, but come at their level. Then they start telling you things.
They begin to open up.
They begin to open up, telling you about drugs, telling you about the word. I said, you people, be careful about drugs. One of them told me, wow, if you want us to keep away from drugs, just close us here.
Okay.
In this house.
Which is impossible.
But if we get out, Mommy, drugs are everywhere.
Where?
One told me, Mom, even when I was at the bus stage, someone said, Mom, hey. So she told me, Mom, it's the heart at school. So when would I have had all this?
Yeah, if you have not come down to their level to have a conversation.
And that is just example. But many things came out. Even trying out, you start talking girl boy thing, and then they say, but Mom, they told us that one exactly said, they told us that we keep practicing. When the real one comes, then we know. I said, hey,
Nedda, baby. No, please.
No, it is okay. These things are natural. When the real one comes, they will come naturally.
God will
struggle. And this is at preteen, not even 16. But this is already the seed coming in.
Conversations at early
so
stage.
what I want to tell my mothers, our children, as they grow both girl and boy.
Yes. That's key.
Not only me, I'm talking because God gave us daughters, but even boys, they need us more. Go slow. And the challenge, the time they need us is when our career is also boiling.
Climbing.
Boiling is the word.
Boiling.
But then at the time when they come back, like now they are grown. And now my career is also stabilized, then you can't talk to them. So let's just remember that. Do your thing, your husband will also do that. And another thing I also wanted to tell my young mothers, all of us, I think at any stage, bloom where you are.
Okay.
Utilize all the abilities, all the services around you. Because when you start lamenting on what you have left behind, you fail to bloom where you are.
Yes, you're looking backwards. If I had taken the job.
Yeah, and then when you hear your friends now, they are professors,
managers.
Hey, you're like,
Kali, that would have been me.
Bloom where you are. And then when you say, God, I surrender this season in my life, then He starts opening up all around you. One example of this one is when I'm in those 6 months and doing nothing, meaning nothing in UNICEF, but a lot
at home
around, but also at church. So I find out this church in Zambia, similar to our church here. And what did I have instead, in addition to that internet I told you, was time.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm going to join my women at church. They are now small women. It's my Wednesday.
You say, let me attend.
I would attend. They don't understand me. I tell them, here I am from where I am home. I told them, but I'm a child of God.
That's what's important.
I went down to their level. These people even to go to their meetings. You have to Kusiima Kalesu.
Hey,
Hey, that's their thing.
their tradition.
I told my husband, the rest I can do. I had this
Kalesu.
Now what do I do? So what I did, I said, I'll get a long skirt.
Yes.
It will be near the Kalesu. But I had to minister to those people. And I had such a great time with them. There was a lot to teach them on health, on women health. I did my door-to-door evangelism that I had not done in years. They said, Sunday evening, we are going for door-to-door evangelism. I came back from church. I said, darling, I have the time.
Let me
At
go.
3, I am going. Evangelist. But I was enriched. And I thank God for that time, reminding me the basics. But fast forward, this USID Zambia wanted reference of people in Zambia who know me. It was a shock. I said, darling, who knows me here? Guess who knew me?
The church people. Wow.
The pastor and his wife. And not that they did not know me, or not that I did it knowing that they are going
to ask.
No. But when I said Bishop Mwiza and Mrs. Mwiza,
Tick.
they even when they called them, they came and asked me, yeah, they asked us about
Wow.
you. So hopefully you can get that job. Guys, bloom where you are.
Bloom
if it needs sweeping the road,
volunteer.
I will volunteer and sweep.
Hey,
in Zimbabwe still when I was intermittent, because now I'm consulting, intermittent, then they said, we want a doctor to volunteer for the palate. There was a palate foundation, cleft lip, palate, to assess their children who are ready for operation. I'm a pediatrician, senior mid public health pediatrician. I looked around and said, but I'm not Zimbabwean. How am I going to go into their children when I am not even accredited here? But I work with UNICEF, they know. I said,
it is me.
I went there. I assessed those children from morning to sunset. I think I could have seen over 50 children that day. But I looked around. I still did not see a colleague. A colleague Zimbabwean came. She was even Chinese. She spent like the morning and said, thank you, I am going. Hey. But maybe the Lord, I said, Lord, if I did not come, maybe you wanted me to also serve your people.
Yes.
Those are a few examples, please. Bloom where you are.
Wow.
And these women and young men and even men, they need you. The little you have is what the Lord has given you to share. Yeah. And then one thing I think I wanted to comment, I've talked about that, then remain in the fellowship of believers.
The people you surround yourself
with, the young marrieds, so marriage group, they are mostly career. Even
people.
If they are not, you're still, who is not a career? I told you being a wife is a career.
Yes.
Being a mother is a career. And then keep your homes nice, presentable. Well, I try my best.
Yes.
It may not be, maybe you can, but so that people open, keep it an open
place that people can come.
Enjoy yourself, look after yourself. What else can I say, Lisa? But
what about the kitchen? Kitchen, something.
Kitchen and a wife.
Okay. Yes.
I still have to present nice meals. When we chatted a little bit, each wife does it differently.
Yeah.
Some may have even professional cooks, chefs, whatever. However, personally, I want my hands dirty. Even if it was a chef. Ideally, let not the chef. I prefer the chef not to bring the food to the table.
At
least
bring it.
Be part of it. Once in a while, make your hands dirty in the kitchen. But being a career doesn't mean that the kitchen is lower for you. Actually, bring your intellect into the kitchen. Bring your intellect into the children's well-being at home. Keep away that maid for a holiday at one point.
So that you're involved.
Then one thing that I may have forgotten, but it's very important. Be involved in your children's events. At school. Go. That career where possible. Where possible.
Yeah.
Stretch it as far as you can stretch it. That you participate in your children's. They don't be the driver, the one to pick and drop. I tell you, you've not taken them. When I bring them, be involved. Because I do remember I had a very intense work at CDC, Uganda. But I realized that most of the performances of my children at their school were in the morning. 8:30 to 10.
I know, yes.
The parents,
Concert.
hey, and
Parent
then you
meeting.
go. Even the practices, even concerts.
Yes, in the morning.
A morning. Until I approached my supervisor. Oh, thank you, my supervisor. I told her, you know what? I have a challenge. My children's performances are in the mornings, but I'm requesting you for those mornings. Can I come late?
Yes.
I want to be there 8:30 to 10. They finish, but after I come, but I'll compensate. And lo and behold, she granted.
Wow.
So every time it would be, Mom, the concert is the 8:39. I say, Rena, tomorrow the concert at school. Yes. I said, fine. And then when you come back, don't disappoint her.
Bambi, excel.
Excel. Huh? Hey, make sure that when you come back at 10, she'll tell everybody, Florence, today will be here by 10:30. Because remember, there could be a meeting when you are even away in those concerts of your children. But she's standing in for you. Florence told me she's going to be late today, but she will come. Then you go and perform.
Yeah.
So that there is no, when she comes,
excuses.
Yeah. So, but I liked it so much because that was the time when my husband was away, remember the 3 years. So the children did not lack any parental oversight at school. But I remember I had to guard that jealously. Even if I'm the one to be the community, the lead of a meeting, first check my diary.
Yeah.
I need you to be on that Wednesday because now if you're leading, I tell you,
you can't. Yes.
So I guarded that jealously, but I do remember it kept us connected.
Wow.
Yeah, with the children. I can up to now remember what their recitals were, what they sang. You know, I remembered one thing I said, if I can remember my mother and father coming to my all-day speech days at school, they really did. God bless them. I do remember. So they will remember. Not video. Let the video be in their brain. Yeah. So please try and be present. Even not only that, but the family things, the sibling things. Be there for your husband. Censor to see his feelers. They are tough people to feel sometimes.
Yes.
By the time they are done, you have really forgotten them. So try and be there for them. Wow. Censor. There's a time when now this Saturday, they may not want you to go in your things.
Understand.
See and come. Don't be taken up. Yeah, I think those are the tips.
Thank you so much.
I can go on and on.
I know. Thank you so much, Dr. Florence. She has given us so many tips. Prioritizing seasons, bloom where you are, be present with your children. You guys, I have personally learned a lot. Thank you so much. I'm honored to be here with you, and I know the viewers have also learned a lot. Let us know in the comment section, what tip are you going to implement? You know? Yeah. My name is Lisa Kusiima, and as always, I'm here to inspire.